the top foods that I think keto dieters miss the most are breads, pasta, and potatoes. Now, I have already shown you how to make a lot of keto bread recipes, and I'm sure there'll be more to come. And I've also shown you how to make a low-carb pasta recipe, which, by the way, I am in the making of a keto, 100% keto, gluten-free pasta recipe, and that is coming soon. Give you a heads up on that. And I have also given you an easy mashed potato substitute that does not include cauliflower. And today, I am going to show you how to make a quick, easy, delicious, loaded baked potato substitute. Because what is better than potatoes than a potato that has cheese and sour cream and bacon and chives and just whatever you want? You can't get better than that, right? Right. Also, I have a bonus recipe for you at the end for a quick and easy baked salmon recipe that goes great with this loaded baked potato recipe. So, if you want printable versions of these, you can check out my website at janetsdeliciouslowcarbkitchen.com. You can find printable versions of these and other goodies there for you. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Also, while you're clicking that subscribe button, right next to the subscribe button, there's a little bell. Make sure you click that notification bell. That way you can be notified every time I put out a new video. And while you do that, let's get cooking. Preheat your oven to 425 degrees. Line a large baking sheet with foil and lightly spray the foil with cooking spray. Wash and completely peel one medium jicama. Those of you who don't know what jicama is, jicama, in my opinion, is the best keto potato substitute. It has a nice flavor, a nice texture. If you're not familiar with it, get to know it with your new friend. Make sure you wash and peel it really good. It's almost impossible to find organic jicama, so really make sure you scrub it good and get every single bit of peeling off. The peeling has a really bitter taste, so you really want to make sure you get that completely off. Cut the jicama into strips or wedges or small pieces that are about a 1/4 inch thick. I usually do mine in strips, but you can cut them in whatever shape you want as long as they are 1/4 inch thick. Place the jicama strips or pieces in a single layer into a microwave-safe bowl. Make sure you just make them in a single layer. You don't want to throw them all in there at once and be stacked on top of each other. It won't cook right. Make sure they are in a single layer. You might need to do it a couple times, but single layer. Pour enough water into the dish just to cover the jicama. Sprinkle the jicama slightly with some salt. This just helps it to cook more evenly and have a little bit more flavor, so you don't need a lot of salt, just a little bit over it. Then microwave it on high, uncovered, for about 6 minutes. This is just going to soften the jicama just a little bit. Jicama does not ever get really soft, so if you're expecting something really soft and really tender, it's not going to be that way. There is going to always be a little bit of a crisp to it. That's what makes jicama so unique and great tasting, is that little bit of a crisp. But microwaving it for a few minutes does help soften it up a bit. Once you've got your jicama softened a little bit, drain the jicama completely. Place it in a single layer on 1 or 2 baking sheets. Depending on how big your jicama is, you might need to use 2 baking sheets. I get medium to small because they have the best flavor. The bigger the jicama, the older the jicama, so the less flavorful it is. But the smaller the jicama, the younger the jicama, so the better flavor you get. So I usually do small to medium jicamas, so 1 baking sheet is usually enough for me. Either way, whether you use 1 or 2 baking sheets, just make sure it's in a nice single layer, no stacking them on top of each other. Drizzle about 2 tablespoons of the oil of your choice over the jicama. I usually use avocado oil or olive oil. You can use whatever oil you want. Just drizzle it over the jicama. Use a basting brush and spread the oil evenly over all the jicama and turn the jicama to coat it so it's completely coated on all sides with the oil. Sprinkle the jicama with some salt and pepper, however much you think you're going to want. A half teaspoon of garlic powder. A half teaspoon of onion powder. And a half teaspoon of chili powder. Again, use the basting brush to spread the seasonings, then use a wooden spoon and turn the jicama until it's fully coated on all sides with the seasonings. Now you can change these seasonings to anything that you want. You can put more or less depending on your taste. So it's up to you what type of seasonings and how much you want. Just make sure the jicama are fully coated with all the seasonings. Once it's coated, put it in the oven at 425 degrees. Bake it for about 15 minutes. Then use your wooden spoon and turn the jicama over so it doesn't get cooked on one side and not cooked on the other. Then bake it for 15 minutes more or until it's nice and golden. Again, remember, jicama does not get completely soft. It will be softened, but don't expect it to get super soft where you can mash it with the fork. In order for it to be that soft, you have to boil them for hours. Once they're done baking, sprinkle over about 1 to 2 cups of shredded cheese of your choice. I usually use a mix of mozzarella and Colby cheese, but you can use whatever type of cheese you want. Just spread it over the jicama, more or less depending on how much cheese you like. Then sprinkle over some crumbled cooked bacon. Make sure it is cooked. Crumble it over the top of the cheese, however much you want. I usually use at least 3 or 4 slices, if not more. It's up to you how much bacon you want on there. Then place it back into the oven at that 425 degrees and bake it for just about 3 minutes more or until the cheese is completely melted. Remove it from the oven. Let it cool just a couple minutes so you don't burn your fingers. Then place your desired amount on your plate. Top it with some sour cream and some chives or some green onions or whatever type of topping you want to put on there. Eat it on its own or put it as a side dish. I love it as a side dish with my baked salmon. Then eat and enjoy. Lightly spray a 13 by 9 inch baking dish with cooking spray. Preheat your oven to 425 degrees. Place about 1 to 2 pounds of salmon fillets into your baking dish. Then cut it into about 4 to 6 fillets depending on how much salmon you eat and how big of the pieces you want. Set that aside for a minute. In a small bowl, combine 1/4 cup of broth of your choice. I'm using chicken broth. You can use whatever flavor broth you like. 2 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice. 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. 1/2 teaspoon of salt, more or less according to your taste. 1/4 teaspoon of paprika. A 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder. A 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. This is optional. It doesn't give it a spicy flavor. It just gives it a little bit more flavor, but not spicy. So don't worry about it being spicy if you add that. And a 1/2 teaspoon of dried tarragon. Use a fork and stir these together until they're fully combined. Brush the salmon evenly with about 2 tablespoons of oil of your choice. I'm using avocado oil. You can use whatever oil you want. Just brush it evenly across the entire salmon. Then pour the broth mixture over the salmon until the salmon is fully coated. Place the salmon in the oven and bake it at 425 for about 15 to 20 minutes or until the fish is nice and flaky when you cut it with a fork. Mine took exactly 15 minutes. Everybody's oven is different though, so 15 to 20 minutes. The way you know it's done is when you cut it with a fork, it should be nice and tender and flaky. Once it's done baking, remove it from the oven. Let it cool a few minutes so you don't burn yourself. About 5 minutes or so on the dish should be good. Then place your desired amount on your plate. Put whatever side dishes you want. Eat and enjoy. And those are our recipes of the day. I hope you enjoyed them both. If you did and you want to see more videos like this, then click that thumbs up like button, click that subscribe button, leave me a comment if you want to. Let me know if there's any recipes that you'd like to learn how to make, and I'll do what I can to get those out there for you. And as always, keep cooking.